Good morning. Oh, the light is doing all sorts of weird things this morning. I've been trying to get it to just stay one way and it's all over the place, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. Just wait for someone to pop on. Good morning. Alrighty, so what I want to talk with you about this morning is there's a lot of energy around at the moment where people are feeling like they're getting rid of the old, want to start with the new, and sometimes that can feel really stalled. And if you're putting pressure on yourself to come up with the next thing or whatever it is, right now I'm changing direction with this brand, so there's a lot of that energy for me. So that's probably why I'm noticing it, And one of the things that I've done recently, I've been journaling a lot more than usual. And one of the things that I did this morning was I went backwards to be able to come forwards again. And what I mean by that is, as this idea is evolving as to where I'm taking the Michelle Hex brand from here on in, I pretty much know where it is. It's just refining it and trying to, build a brand around it, I guess is, the look and feel of it is where I'm not forcing it, just letting it unfold, and it's been interesting. But, I designed and created the art of kicking ass elegantly for a reason. There's a big part of me in that brand. And so for me to, move forward with this new brand, I went backwards, read some of my old blogs, all that sort of stuff, and thought, oh, it's all there, it's all back in there. And so sometimes we feel like we're wasting our time if we go backwards and look at what we've done and learn the lessons from that. In a practical sense, sometimes we don't want to go back. We don't want to go back. We feel like we're ready to move on and we don't want any more of what we've been doing. But sometimes going backwards and having a look at why we began that thing in the first place, and sometimes even going back further and further than that. So as I'm going through this exploration at the moment, I'm remembering things that were really meaningful and important to me as a kid, and as a teenager. And those things that I gave so much time and energy to and so much importance to in those times had sort of fallen by the wayside in favor of other things, because that's where I needed to go at the time. I have no regrets about where my business has been over the years, starting out with martial arts schools and then going on to online fitness while I did that, then women's only taekwondo schools, still doing fitness, doing business coaching, evolving into the art of kicking ass elegantly. It's all been an incredible journey, and there's so much gold in amongst all of that. Not all of it's relevant now, but you'll find underlying themes. There are things that you've been doing over the last decade or so, or even longer than that. And if you go back and you have a look, you'll see that, these are themes that have run through your life the whole way through. And sometimes the business that we think we're going to come up with, or the direction that we're going to turn in, is not really, sometimes it can surprise us. It can take on something different. I remember when I launched Push, my women's only taekwondo school, I'd been a taekwondo competitor. My whole taekwondo training was focused around sparring and winning tournaments and things like that. And so when I opened Push, I imagined that I would have a competition-based club, because all of my other clubs had been competition-based. And the women that I got in the club weren't really into that. And I actually didn't feel that great about exposing them to it, because the industry had changed quite a bit. And I just felt like I didn't want to expose them to that. And what I got was so much better than what I started out with. The community of women that came into that dojang, and as I say, it was not what I expected, but it was far better than I could ever have hoped for, because I just continued to stay plugged in. I stayed tuned into my instincts and what felt right, what felt good, and I was guided by that. And I ended up with an incredible business of, and it was more than that. It was something that just fueled my soul month after month after month. And so have a look at those things, look to the past and think about the times where you thought something was going to be a certain way and it ended up being something entirely different. Sometimes we get a little bit scared about that because we're fixated on what we think it's supposed to be, this next thing is supposed to be, or the direction that we're supposed to take things in. We get fixated, and sometimes we get a little bit hemmed in by, you know, well, this is what I've been doing and this is what people are expecting me to continue doing. And so we can get hemmed in by that as well. So today I want you to go backwards. Think about what are the things that lit you up? What were the things that excited you as a kid? You know, I can remember when I was a little kid, my sister and I, you know, we used to fight like cat and dog when we were a little bit older, and even I think when we were kids. But we used to have these days where we would set up, we had this window at the back, and it was like an undercover area. So I used to set it up like it was a cooking show, and there was a camera out the front, and we used to just pretend we were on television. You know, I forgot that I used to do that. I used to also hire out these things from the library, these teaching kits of whatever the hell, it didn't even really matter. And then I would have my friends from school come around, and I would, you know, they would have to sit at the desk and I'd be the teacher. You know, this has always been in my blood. It's something that I've always done. I've always wanted to share my message. I always thought when I was a kid I wanted to just be famous and be in front of a camera. But you know, as I got older, that was the furthest thing from the truth. It's really about sharing a message and making sure that that message is heard and making sure that it resonates and it's reaching the right people at the right time. And so often, you know, I get messages from people who are saying to me, oh my God, you know, you're reading my mind. You're saying exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. And I love that, because that's what I hope is going to happen. You know, you throw enough stuff at the internet and, you know, some of the stuff is going to resonate and have some deep impact. But it's all there, you know, it's all there in your past. It's all there in the things that you used to do when you just had fun with things, you know, before you started to think about it had to be a business idea, or it had to generate income, or it had to have a certain outcome. You know, of course, we're all in business to make money. There's no doubt about that. But you also know that when you're doing what you love and you're thriving in that space, then the money's going to come anyway if you do it right. You know, you can't just, you know, pray to the universe that it's going to happen and shit just shows up. It doesn't. You have to have strategy and you've got to stick with it and all that sort of stuff. But if you're doing what you love, people buy passion, you know. So think about what you're passionate about, and maybe what you're doing right now isn't what you're still passionate about. Maybe it was what you were passionate about 5 years ago, 6 months ago, you know, 10 years ago, and maybe that's not the case anymore. Do yourself the favor of being honest with yourself and exploring that. And I think that was the biggest thing for me in the Art of Kicking Ass Elegantly brand. I love that brand. It ended up becoming something that I didn't quite expect it to be, if I'm honest. But I didn't know that at the time. It felt really, really right. It felt great. It felt like me and all that sort of stuff. But you know, I'm ready to move into a softer direction, I think. I'm still going to be, you know, telling you how it is and kicking your ass with love and all that sort of stuff. But I'm really more focused on helping women focus on themselves, knowing that that's going to have an impact on their bottom line. Always does. You know, when you're living your best life and you're showing up as the very best version of you and you feel good about that, it can't help but have an impact on your bottom line. And you know, a lot of the coaching that I've been doing over the last few years has been on that mindset shifting stuff. It's been on the woman herself as opposed to business strategy. And I'm really excited about bringing a different way of doing it. It's going to be a more fun way of doing personal development. It's going to be an adventure. It's going to tick all the boxes. If you're the kind of woman who's been yearning and looking for something more in your life, don't quite know what it is, you're kind of over just this sole focus of growing your business. We all want to grow our business, but you know what? That thing can go on for decades, because there's always another level. There's always a next level. There's always that went really, really well. That's great. Now what can I do next? So we could spend our whole entire lives just focusing on growing and expanding our businesses. And I don't care who you are, you're not going to be sitting in your rocking chair or on your deathbed and wish you had worked more. You're just not. You're going to wish that you had a more rich and juicy life. Think about the regrets that you've had over the last, you know, year, for example. Every freaking year I go, oh, I really wanted to do something with spring racing and I just didn't do it. You know, and I told myself it was because I didn't know enough people, or I didn't want to go somewhere on my own, or you know, I didn't like the way my clothes were fitting at that time, you know, dumb, stupid excuses. And I always regret it. I always think, oh, I really wish I had have done that. And we can have a lifetime of that stuff. if we're not careful. And so over the last couple of years, and particularly this year, I've been really focused on filling myself up outside of my business. And actually I did that last year as well, and it had a huge impact on my business. And it actually probably is what pushed me to this place of saying, I love my market, I love the stuff I'm teaching, but I'm ready for a change. I just didn't know what it was, and now I know 95% of the way there of what that is. But I'm really passionate about helping those female entrepreneurs who have been doing this for a while, and you look up and you just think, is this all that freaking my life is about right now, just growing my business? And it's great, when we have those wins and things are exciting and we, have something amazing happen, there is no high that matches that. I know that. Absolutely. Actually, that has become my new high. When I used to compete in Taekwondo and have a win, that was like, there was nothing like that. And this is kind of my next evolved version of that, because I'm not fighting anymore. So I know there's nothing like the win of succeeding, and there's nothing like the win of making something happen in your business that you thought was impossible before that. But I also want you to be open to exploring having a rich and juicy life outside of that, and not just going through the motions, and not just doing things that look good on Instagram, doing things that really fill you up, the things that make your heart sing, and the things that make you feel more and more you, the things that make you step more powerfully into the woman that you're evolving into, and having fun with life. I think we've forgotten to have fun with life a lot of the time, and we end up feeling like growing our business or the next launch is freaking life or death, and it's so not. And when our life is all about that, we become so attached to an outcome and we lose the joy. And so I'm going to be encouraging women, and my new program and the new direction that I'm going in is all about that. It's more of a lifestyle product. It's more of a, being mindful of the fact that, anything that you do is, whether you say it or not, behind the scenes, innately is going to help you grow your business. We know that. We can't get rid of that from ourselves. If you're a female entrepreneur, it's always in the back of your mind about, how is this going to help me grow my business, or how can I grow my business? But I'm going to take you out of your business to teach you how to do that. And one of the first things that I'm going to be doing is running my retreat at the end of the year. I'll pop the link in above the video in a minute, but if you're in Australia, and particularly if you're in Victoria, it's going to be a 3-day retreat. It's starting, I think it's in end of November, maybe, something like that. I've got to go double check those dates. Maybe even the first week of December, potentially. But it's a 3-day retreat, and it's all about, if you're on the edge of change right now and you're a little bit stuck because you just don't quite know what you want to do next, or how to do it next, or how to pivot in this business of yours, or that you really are longing for 2018 to be something different, this is a perfect retreat for you, because I'm going to help you get really clear about what it is that you really, really want, so that you can go for it in 2018 and feel really good about it. So we're going to map out your success plan for 2018 for your business, but it's going to be so much more than that. We're going to be moving through some mindset stuff. We're going to be adding some lifestyle elements into it, so that every area of your life is taken care of, not just your business. I've always believed in practicing things from a holistic perspective, and it all ends and begins with you. Everything is to do with you and what goes on between your ears, honestly. And so we want to get you thinking right. I want to get you thinking and stepping into the woman that you want to be in 2018. And as I say, if you are on that precipice of change, you're looking for something different, this is going to be an incredible retreat. It's going to be limited to 6 women. I know exactly what I want to do with you. I'm going to organize some amazing experiences that become part of that are going to shake you up and take you out of your comfort zone in a really supportive way, but get you really thinking differently and acting differently, so that you get a much better and different result in 2018. So if you're interested at all in that retreat, make sure that you shoot me a message. I'll put the details up. There's an application form, so you can make sure that you fill that out too. And the other thing that I need to tell you about is on the 1st of September, I'm retiring all of my programs. there's going to be a massive sale of all the programs that I've created, and it's difficult for me to let them go because they've been incredible programs. They really have. And in one of my groups today, one of my girls just let me know that she's officially now got a 6-figure business, and that within 2 months she'll have met her financial goals. I love that stuff, and it's hard to switch things off when you know people are getting those sorts of results. But it's time for me to do something different. But I do want those programs in the hands of people that are going to really use them and love them. So it's kind of the last hurrah. So I'm going to be running that sale from the 1st of September all the way through to the 10th, I think it is. And there's over something like $6,000 worth of programs for $500. And then you can buy them individually as well. So, you know, have your credit card ready. It is going to be the last time. Once that sale closes out, I won't be selling those products anymore. And they really are incredible. I really love them, but they're not going to line up with the brand that I'm moving forward with. So it's just time to let them go. And that's a lesson for you as well. You know, sometimes we drag stuff around because we're too scared to let it go. But the thing is, when we hang on to what's good, we're not making way for what can be really great and exceptional and amazing. And I know that, and that's why I'm okay with letting them go, because I know that when we let go of something that is, you know, we don't have the same passion or excitement for as we did once upon a time, the next thing is going to show up. And that was part of me moving through that process of saying, okay, one way for me to really draw a line in the sand here is to create this sale, know that people are going to have a last chance to be able to grab a hold of them and have them. So the content's always going to be there. It's not like, you know, I'm going to close it down, you've got to look at it for 5 minutes and then it's going to be gone. It's not that. The content is always going to be there. You just won't be able to buy it anymore. Anyway, that's it for today. I have a 2-hour facial booked. Pretty excited about that. I've got to go to the gym. Got to go and buy some new bedding. And that's about my day. So nothing too crazy going on today. Yeah, and I'm taking my mum out for lunch tomorrow, so I'm excited about it. But the one thing that I did earlier was I recorded my podcast. It was about 35 minutes. I was killing it, and something's wrong with the sound, so it didn't record. So I don't know why. Last time it just worked perfectly. So yeah, taking a step out, I'm going to come back, I'm going to record it again tomorrow and know that it's going to be better than today's, because why else would it not have worked? And that's about me for the next couple of days. So have an incredible day. Remember sometimes that you have to go backwards to come forwards. And that's my daughter messaging me. And yeah, have an incredible Thursday, and I'll be back. Bye.